Welcome to Nightmare County. I'm your host, Rando M. Gould. Yes, I know, it's been quite some time since I posted a video, but there's been a good reason for that. It seems that YouTube got mad about one of the videos I posted for it being too violent. That would be the meat video. And they took away a lot of my viewership. I can't blame them. I guess there should have been some warning that it was a violent video, and I guess that falls on me. But and it was kind of a downer. It made me not want to make videos anymore. But after a few people encouraging me and telling me to go on, not to let that bother me and everything, just to keep pushing forward, here we are with another video. And I guess coming back, I wanted to. I know in my last video I talked about how I was going to do a video on clowns and clown horror and circus horror and stuff like that. I'm still going to do that because I've been writing and I got some stuff lined up. But I wanted to just do a quick video on H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, you gotta admit, the guy has influenced horror or cosmic horror ever since he first started writing his short stories and novels and stuff. It's been an influence of Stephen King, Guillermo del Toro, Stuart Gordon, so many others. I mean, you got plush toys, you got video games, board games. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft, it can be found in so many things, especially his creation of Cthulhu, in Arkham County and everything. I mean, so many of his stories have been adapted, and I wanted to talk about 10 of the best movies that I think that have been based on his work. I'm not going to talk about TV series because I mean, I think Lovecraft County, it was just released this last year, and it's been nominated for so many Emmys, but it's not getting renewed, which is kind of crazy. It makes you wonder if like Netflix or somebody like that's going to pick it up. I'm focusing basically only on movies, theatrical releases, not theatrical, movies released either straight to video or on a streaming service, or VHS from back in the day when I first started watching movies. But yeah. I want to touch on H.P. Lovecraft. I'll probably go touch on Lovecraft later on in another video where I actually talk about his novels and how influential they are. But I just want to focus on the movies and the crazy world that they inhabit. So, here we go, starting with number 10. And these aren't from least to greatest or anything. These are just, I think, 10 of the best movies or the most fun movies you can find based on his work. And I guess I'll start off with number 10 with Call of Cthulhu. It was released in 2005, and it is a silent film. I think this is on Amazon Prime. You can rent it. It is literally just it's really for silent. They did. I know I'm stuttering, but it's done in the form of a silent film, and for some reason that makes it better. Now, I would love a live-action version of this where it's with special effects, so on and so forth, but what they do is fantastic. And it's one of those movies I go back to every now and then and watch. But if you ever get a chance, watch 2005's Call of Cthulhu. I mean, it's well made, and it's so worth your time. And the reason why this is so far on the bottom of this list is because it is a silent film, and I know most people, you'd be surprised, don't like watching silent films. So I think you should at least try to watch a silent film every once in a while, like Nosferatu or something. They're so worth checking out. But Call of Cthulhu is well made, and it's just stellar. Number 9, we're going to go with The Unnameable. The Unnameable. It is on Tubi TV. It is a little bit campy. Special effects aren't the best, but it is still a fun adaptation. It's well worth checking out, especially for free on Tubi TV. If you don't have that streaming service, I mean, it's an easy download. I don't know why you haven't downloaded Tubi TV. Other than Shudder, it's probably the best source for horror movies from ever. for a streaming service, so I would definitely be checking that out. And I'm not sponsored by Tubi TV. I'm just telling you, they have almost all the horror movies you could ever ask for. Moving on, we're going to move on to number 8 with Castle Freak. Castle Freak is kind of a mini classic, isn't it? It's directed by Stuart Gordon, who, in all honesty, is the Stuart Gordon does for H.P. Lovecraft what Roger Corman did for Edgar Allan Poe. And because let's be honest, the best adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe were done by Roger Corman. They might not have been the truest adaptations, but they were the best adaptations you could find on any of Edgar Allan Poe's work. Stuart Gordon is that to H.P. Lovecraft. There's no doubt about it, and they're going to find that out because on this list, there's a lot of Stuart Gordon on it. But Castle Freak would probably, in my opinion, be the lesser of all his works based on H.P. Lovecraft. It's a campy, good time. It's a fun movie, but it's not the best. I will tell you, it's not the best, but it is incredibly fun. And I do believe you can find that on Tubi TV as well. God, you're going to hear me say that a lot. Sorry, but let's roll with me. I would probably say I would go with number 7. Would probably on 7 we had Call of Cthulhu, Name of Castle. Yeah, we're on number 7. Number 7, we're going with Necronomicon, and it came out I think like '95, and it's an anthology film with Jeffrey Combs starring, playing H.P. Lovecraft. He's just writing a story and everything. It comes with 3 adapted stories of Rats in the Walls, Cool Air, and Whisper in Darkness. And for some reason, one of the stories has been turned into The Drowning, but I don't know why they did that. But it's a the person that oversaw it was Brian Yuzna, just like he did the Reanimator films. But Brian Yuzna directs, I think, Whisper in Darkness and the wraparound segment, The Library, with Jeffrey Combs. And it's good, but the first story that you're brought into, the first actual, other than the library sequence, is The Drowning, directed by Christoph Gans. And it is, without a doubt, one of the best adapted short stories of, or little segments based on one of Lovecraft's movies. I mean, books. It's like they ran out of a budget from there on out, so the Cool Air and Whisper in Darkness just don't hold up as well. This is a gory movie, but if anything, if you can find it or rent it, the drowning sequence, directed by Christoph Gans, is so worth finding and checking out. It's really good and one of the best. Moving on, we're gonna move on to number 6 with actually this is a two for one for this one, for number 6. It's The Color Out of Space, from 2019, directed by Richard Stanley, with Nicolas Cage. It's probably one of the it's a really great version. I enjoyed it. I think more people enjoyed it for Nicolas Cage's performance. I enjoyed it for Richard Stanley's unique take on H.P. Lovecraft. It uses the effects in it are great. The acting's good. I mean, Cage's acting is his craziness fits the movie for what it needs. But I would say that there's a 2010 version. Oh, and Color Out of Space from 2019 by Richard Stanley is on Shudder. The version that I think is far superior is 2010's, which you can find on Tubi TV, The Color Out of Space. It's mainly black and white, and it uses color to great effect for what it needs to. To me, it's just a better adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work. It's crazy too. I mean, both films are nuts. I mean, but I would say the 2010 version is better, and it's on Tubi TV as well. Whereas the Richard Stanley one is, of course, like I said, on Shudder. I enjoyed both, but I do prefer the 2010 version. I'm real big on films that are filmed in black and white, and they use that aesthetic to great effect, and that one does. We're going to move on to number 5 with From Beyond, another Stuart Gordon classic, and adapted from the novel short story From Beyond. The special effects in From Beyond to me are fantastic, and if you've probably seen the GIF from used on either Facebook or Instagram from this movie quite a bit, and that's the part where something's coming out of the middle of a guy's forehead. It's a very, I mean, every Stuart Gordon. If you read Lovecraft and you thought, well, this is kind of boring, or if you, I'll say for the casual reader and everything, you probably read it like, okay, this is kind of boring. I kind of get what people like about it, but it's kind of boring. Lovecraft, Gordon was like, well, I'm just going to inject a whole bunch of. For some reason, he brought a lot of fun to all his adaptions, and I would say that it's a flawed but incredibly fun movie, and it's up there with some of his best stuff, Gordon's. And I would say check it out. And From Beyond, it's on Pluto TV. If you don't have that streaming service, it's worth checking out. Like I said, it's got I would say the last 30 minutes of that movie are pretty insane and fun. So if you get a chance, check out From Beyond as well. Alright, moving on. We're going to move with number 4. We're going to start. Man, people are going to give me a lot of hate for this because they're going to think that this is really a top 10 list and this movie should be number 1. But in my opinion, it's in the top 5 if you did make a top 5 for Stuart Gordon. Alright, I'd say top 2. I'd put it, if you made a top 10 list, this would be number 2 in my opinion of his best films. But for me, on this list, it really doesn't matter because, you know, whatever. It's definitely a number 4, and that's Reanimator, directed by Stuart Gordon. You can find this on Tubi TV as well. I think when Stuart Gordon and Jeffrey Combs got together, it was like Vincent Price and Roger Corman, and they just made everything work, and they go well together. And Reanimator is, everyone, if you're a fan of horror movies, you've seen Reanimator, obviously. They have toys. There's a series of films that follow this. The first one with Bride Reanimator and Beyond Reanimator, which are all fun, but the first one is still by far the best one, and it's a classic. There's so many good lines from the movie, and I don't think I should have to say too much about this movie other than you need to watch it. It's part of the whole. It's part of the '80s. Has great special effects, great humor, and it's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, you can find it on Tubi TV as well. Number 3. Oh man, this one I should probably get the most hate for. Number 3, I'm gonna say, is The Haunted Palace, directed by Roger Corman, starring Vincent Price. But this is a 2-for-1 as well. Whereas The Haunted Palace is actually the title of a. This is during the Edgar Allan Poe cycle of Roger Corman and Vincent Price films, and even though this was an adaptation of the case of Charles Dexter Ward, the studios at the time were like, no, you need to put a Edgar Allan Poe title on the movie. So they did, and they put The Haunted Palace, which, the movie, I guess you could say, is The Haunted Palace. The place is haunted, and it's a mansion, not a palace, but whatever. It is still based on the case of Charles Dexter Ward from H.P. Lovecraft. That's it, and it is one of my favorite adaptations. It's probably the first Lovecraft movie that I ever saw. I saw it as a kid when I was watching a bunch of Universal Classic Motion movies, and I would get to see Roger Corman movies as well, especially all the Poe films that they did. And there's a sequence with the thing down in the well, which is one of my favorite sequences. But there's another movie very similar to which is based off the case of Charles Dexter Ward, called The Resurrected, starring Chris Sarandon, directed by Dan O'Bannon. And the only thing that I would say this film is lesser than The Haunted Palace because of the acting. I would say that it's hard to beat Vincent Price. It really is, and Roger Corman. But Dan O'Bannon does a fantastic job. Of course, if anybody knows who Dan O'Bannon is he's the director of Return of the Living Dead. So you know this movie is going to have some great special effects, and it does. The movie special effects are awesome in this movie, but it just doesn't hold up to, and it's a better adapted story of the case of Charles Dexter Ward than the Haunted Palace is, but the acting in the Haunted Palace is leagues better than this movie. So that's why I throw these two in there at the same time. I would go with the Haunted Palace over this one, over the Resurrected, but the Resurrected is worth for the special effects alone, and just for Dan O'Bannon's directing, because he was always great at what he did, and most of the time studios cut his movies to death. So moving on, we'll move to number 2 with a short film, actually, not actually a full-length movie, but a short film from the Masters of Horror's 2005's Masters of Horror episode, Dreams in the Witch House, which is a fantastic adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft. That's why it's so high up on this list, because it is indeed a fantastic adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work. Is it one of the best? No, but it's up there. It's up there being one of the best ones. It's creepy. It's good. It's directed by Stuart Gordon again, and trust me, you're gonna hear his name one more time. But I would definitely say, if you want to, you can find Masters of Horror's episode on Tubi TV, actually. Oh, and also you can find man, I don't think you find the Haunted Palace or the Resurrected on any streaming service. So I'm sorry about that. You're gonna probably have to pay for them on Amazon Prime or something, whatever streaming service you want to use to rent movies, or you want to buy them. I was lucky to see, I have both of them on VHS, so well, not the Haunted Palace. I have the Resurrected on VHS. The Haunted Palace I have on a MGM's Midnight DVD set. So just to let you know. But Dreams in the Witch House, you can find that along with many other great Masters of Horror episodes on Tubi TV. And my number 1 favorite H.P. Lovecraft movie, and it might have to do with the time that I saw it, because a friend of mine, Sam, showed me this movie, and it's fantastic. It's not the best special effects, because it's at a time when like CGI wasn't that great for low budget movies, and the ending is ruined by a bad special effects shot, but you get the idea of what's going on. But everything leading up to that, they use pretty much practical effects, and it makes me wonder why they had to use CGI at the end of the movie. But that movie is Dagon, and Dagon is so damn good, and it's so worth everyone check out. And you can find it on Tubi TV. But the reason why I say this is my favorite adaptation is because of the atmosphere of the city. Stuart Gordon again used a city that felt like something out of H.P. Lovecraft's work, which no one else had done. I mean, even in previous adaptations by Stuart Gordon, nothing captured the atmosphere and the ambience of of H.P. Lovecraft's work like Dagon does. Because when you hear about like the people in his novels and everything that have been crossed over with fish and everything, aquatic animals and stuff, this movie does it. The cults of Cthulhu and stuff like that, they're what you envision to be in those books. When you read those books, Stuart Gordon was like, Dagon does that. You get all that. You get crazy creatures, great special effects, but it is ruined by the last shot, like I said, like the last 5 minutes of CGI, and I hated that about the movie. But at the time it wasn't bad, but now it hasn't aged. I say it hasn't aged that well, the last 5 minutes of that movie. But everything leading up to that cannot be beat, in my opinion, when it comes to H.P. Lovecraft. And thank God for Stuart Gordon. I'm so glad I got to meet him before he passed away years ago and everything. But I told him that Dagon was my absolute favorite thing that he made, and it's a movie I revisit like quite a few times throughout quite a few times during a year, because this is one of those movies you just throw on and want to watch for something cool, has that great atmosphere and everything, but Dagon hasn't. And it makes me upset that no one has done that again. It's like, why hasn't anyone done that again? Create the atmosphere in the town that you would expect to be in an H.P. Lovecraft movie. And it just infuriates. I don't understand why. It's like everybody, when they do a H.P. Lovecraft movie, the towns are they don't feel like they belong in a H.P. Lovecraft novel. And Dagon is that one film that, when you read H.P. Lovecraft and you see Dagon, you're like, that's the town you envision. And that's why it's my favorite book based on anything that any adaptation. And it's based on Shadow over Innsmouth. And the Innsmouthers, the people of they just look cool. Like I said, I cannot tell you enough to watch Dagon. So if you get a chance, go on Tubi TV right now and watch Dagon. Now, I would say if there's 2 films or 3 films, or a few other films that I think are worth checking out, are honorable mentions. It would be Cold Skin and Underwater, which they are not based on H.P. Lovecraft's work. They are just heavily influenced by H.P. Lovecraft's work. And especially Underwater. Underwater was a movie with Kristen Stewart that just came out not too long ago, and the last 15 minutes are right up your alley if you love Lovecraft and everything, especially anything with Cthulhu and those monstrosities and stuff. It's awesome. Cold Skin is a low budget affair that came out, I think, 2017, I do believe. Cold Skin is really good. It doesn't have the payoff that you expect, but it's worth checking out. I think you can find Cold Skin on Amazon Prime. Whereas Underwater, I don't know what streaming service it's on, but it's worth checking out as well. The only other film that I would say that's worth trying to go out there and find would be A Whisper in Darkness from 2011. It's filmed in a 1930s aesthetic, and it's just a glorious film to watch. It's harder to find. I don't even know if you can find it on Amazon Prime. It's been years since I've seen it. The only reason I got to see it's because someone had it on a ripped copy, and it's so worth checking out. But it's called Whisper in Darkness, and especially if you like movies that have they're filmed in a 1930s look, like from old Universal Classic monster movies and such, then this movie's for you. So that would be it. I hope you enjoyed this list. I know it's kind of all over the place, and I'm going to try to pick it up and do a little bit better with the next one. But I want to say thank you to all the people who have stuck around and watched these videos. And yeah, if you can, just hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and just drop me a comment and tell me what your favorite H.P. Lovecraft movie or book was, because I love talking about that stuff as well. You can hit me up on Instagram for Nightmare County or Facebook. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and hope you have a good night. And don't be a stranger and tune in.